everybody. Welcome back. This is episode six of the Every Dad. We hope you've enjoyed the 5 previous, and we thank you for coming back to hear what interesting things we have to say today. With that, I'm going to let Drew start it off. Just real quick overview. You know that we talked about dad fitness and us getting back into it, and so far we've done pretty good. We've not really fell off the rails on it, and we're moving in a positive direction. We keep increasing the amount of stuff we're doing. So let's let everybody know kind of where you've been taking this adventure.
Yeah, so I started back in almost exactly a month ago now, according to my progress pictures. But
it goes by fast.
Yeah, it's been a whole month. I've been steadily getting faster on the bike. I started at 12 miles an hour average to now I'm at like 16, 17 sometimes on a faster type ride. But I just started running, the running phase of everything. And, you know, I hate running with a starving passion. And I did just find a local, well, not a local group, but a couple of ladies that I found on the app that I use to track my runs and bikes that they run in our local area. And I reached out to them, and they're ultra runners, so they don't exactly run fast.
Let's be completely honest. These are women that are older than you, right?
Yes. I mean, yeah,
they're cleaning up, right?
Well, it's not. I by all means I could probably run faster, but I definitely couldn't do it for as long as they could.
Yeah, you said these women seem like they could just run
right, like
100 miles.
They do ultra marathons, which is a 100-mile race. I think one of the ladies had a 30K that she was doing this weekend, and right now I'm going for the 5K, and because that's the first sprint distance even in the triathlon. I hope to pick up swim next month is when I hopefully will start swimming.
And that's earlier than you had initially anticipated getting. But phase, right, you talked about next year.
No, I was thinking next year to actually compete, not compete. You know what I mean? To participate.
No, I guess I was under that. I thought you were trying to bike through the end of the year and then kind of pick up the running. And
because I figured remember winter.
Well, the weather's going to stop.
Yeah, because I'd have to do swimming indoors, so I figured winter would be a good time to start, swimming a lot more.
Yeah.
I've been looking at the local Y here, and I just dinged to me the other day that I go to online university, and I could probably use their natatorium facility for it.
Yeah, as long as it's open.
But I know, like I keep sending you updates on my speeds and routes and stuff like that. I know that keeps you motivated. How are you doing?
Absolutely. So I bit that bullet, and I joined a gym. I joined Planet Fitness. I mean, you can't beat the price.
Right.
They're everywhere, so everybody pretty much knows it. And I got the black card, so I can go to any one, which is awesome. Plus all their extra features, which I don't really use, but I've been diligent. I mean, I barely miss a day. If I do, I feel bad. I anticipate going to the gym again, and I feel horrible when I don't make it. So I usually try and make up for it. And originally my plan was to concentrate mostly on cardio, do a little bit of weights. And I told you I was just more concerned about being back in shape than I was actually getting big or anything like that. But my young brain is starting to kick back in, and I'm nailing the cardio, which I'm doing at least 30 minutes of cardio. I'm not a treadmill guy. It's been an elliptical or some other sort of low impact. My old bones can't take it now, but I'll go in there and get my heart rate up and do a good 30 minutes on the cardio. And then I start hitting the weights. And for the first 2 weeks, I was sticking to my plan, but now I'm killing myself again. And I'm not really sure if that's good or bad or how to even avoid it. I might just have to run with it, and I just worry about risk of injury, of course, when you're doing that, because I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I don't have the recovery in my body that I used to. And, so I have to get myself back to that. But nonetheless, not only me joining the gym, like my wife, who already belonged but hadn't been in, this whole COVID thing, closing everything down, she's back into it now, and it's motivating her. So we usually meet up at the gym. She cuts a little time period in her work day, and she'll be up there generally when I get there. And we usually hit the ellipticals together, which is motivating, and then she'll do her thing and I'll do mine. So, and I know that you can talk a little bit about the 5K, and I guess your plan, because I think you're trying to get Heather involved in some of this stuff too.
Yeah. So we'll be running a 5K. It's we're gonna get our kids and wives hopefully involved in it, and it'll be our first little foray into fitness. The virtual 5K, obviously, they send us a kit and everything like that, and we'll do our thing. And,
that's our plan. We're gonna try and film portions of it.
Yeah.
And we'll release that in some of the upcoming videos. But we've definitely found that motivating each other is helping. I know that, he'll shoot me pictures of his progress on the bike, his average speed and all that stuff. And if I haven't already been to the gym that day, that's kind of like my Kickstarter to get my butt out there to do it. But with that said, I am finding it easier and easier to get that motivation. And even though my wife and I don't work out together, it's nice having her there, but I am able to motivate myself, which is something that years and years and years I've had trouble doing.
Yeah.
I've needed a workout partner, and we even talked about that. The what makes it tough when you do have a workout partner, because you got to find somebody who's on the same level. Well, when you're only doing it yourself, I guess you don't have to worry about that part of it. So I've been able to keep myself motivated. I mean, heck, your bike's usually with you at work every day.
Yeah,
so you found a way to work around that, which is good for you.
And it keeps my time at home, and that's an important part right now, especially with all the babies.
I mean, did you mention that at all about kind of how you do that with work? Like,
no, so I actually bike to work every morning, which is a good 8 to 10 miles.
There's a TV show where guy bikes to work.
I think it's
a little segue, right?
Yeah,
it's
the office.
It's the office.
But even the running with the ladies in the morning, that takes place at like 4:45. I leave the house, or I get up at 4, leave the house soon after, and then I get there and wait for them.
And I find it interesting how you found her too. Like you literally found her through the email system at work.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know I'd seen the name when she popped up on it's a Strava app. I just saw where, she was running around. She was a part of a local 5K. She was like the one person that was in that group.
Yeah. One person.
Right. And I joined that group too. So then I started getting notifications that she was running every morning, and she was running, the same distance, if not a little bit more every morning at this, at a pace that I need to get into the mind frame to make it through.
Yeah. Cause you've never been a distance guy.
No, I've never been a distance guy. I was a sprinter my entire life, and I'm trying to change the way I run, and that's terrible right now. And I knew I'd seen the name before, then I mentioned it to you, and you knew who she was, and she's actually part of our IT department, or the director of our IT department.
Yeah, she's high up there.
Yeah, well, and the wife of the mayor.
Yeah,
didn't know that.
Also, in case there's anybody watching this that's interested in any of this, something you told me that I haven't tried out yet, but we've both had issues with feet problems when running.
Yeah.
Talk a little about your experience. You went to some place, you got
I went to Fleet Feet, which is we were out taking my mother to the airport, so we're in North Carolina, obviously, and it's near Raleigh. But I went to Fleet Feet, and they had I've gone there before, but they didn't have the technology that they had this time. Mm-hmm. And they took a 3D scan of my foot. They did a bunch of assessments on me, and they fitted me for shoes. And I've always gone there because they're the few shoe stores that, they don't usually, you go in there, you point, they fit you with a shoe, and they get your size.
Yeah,
right?
Based on what you like, want. And then they fit it to you.
No, they did a bunch of assessments for me, and they brought me my best shoes that would be best for me. And they're not necessarily the shoes that I would pick. I'm a flashy shoe guy.
Yeah, probably more like my style. I'm very muted.
And it's the first time I've ever been told I had wide feet. And like I was telling you when it happened, if that's the way shoes were supposed to fit, then I've been wrong for 30 years. I have no idea. There's no blisters. There's no, I've always had a problem with blisters, problem with ripping shoes.
Yeah.
Arch problems, everything. I have very high arches, and I have tons of problems with cosmetic problems with my feet, and no like tendon problems or anything like that, but always blisters, heel, both sides of my feet, and that's gone. And
I mean,
I had no idea. My mind was literally blown because
I've
been wearing shoes wrong.
I'm super interested about that, and I want to go because I don't know what's wrong with my feet, but I've expressed to you, like we've talked about it, and I guess maybe it's normal, but when running distance or hitting the elliptical for distance or anything, we each have a foot, and it happens to be the same foot, but it falls asleep, a few minutes in, and we just thought it was either like a poor circulation or a shoe issue. And to a point, it could be a shoe issue. I guess they mentioned to you maybe your shoes were too tight, and we've been trying that out. But I don't know.
And mine still go. Mine went numb the other day running. So
I'm interested in
if anybody knows anything about that, please let us know. Because I hope we're not dying inside.
Before we go too much further, we should probably address why we're wearing the same shirt.
Oh yeah, we are wearing the same shirt. So
it wasn't planned, by the way, at all.
Yeah. Another one of the fun things that I've learned that, starting this journey from essentially the couch to a triathlon is there's this brand ambassador programs, which really the motivation came from the fact that my daughter is a brand ambassador for
we've mentioned that,
clothing companies. Yeah.
She's like a little star now. So.
Right. So I got curious and was wondering if there was things like that for this. And sure enough, there's companies willing to support people like me that are actually just everyday people trying to better themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And at Honey Stinger, nutrition is one of them. They make little, protein waffles, energy chews. They have a good little clothing line.
Yeah, I rode the coattails. He got signed up for it, let me see the deals on it, and I just started pointing.
Yeah, I figured we promote for the promote it on the channel, and it's good stuff so far. I've already pitched a cereal to them. Did you ever try the little protein waffles?
Hold on. This is a lot of times the stuff we're talking about on here, we've at least kind of muttered around.
No, so there's the little protein, the little waffles I've been eating. I was like, if you make those smaller and put milk on those things, that's a recovery day meal sent from God. Yeah.
Like you email them or something?
No, it's on their Facebook page. I'm a part of their
have they responded?
Facebook page. A bunch of people have, but they personally haven't. You never know. You never know.
Sears said no. That's the
but yeah, I mean, they have great stuff, a really great community. Like I can ask any questions that I have because I'm a beginner at all three of these things technically. And any questions that I have about the bike or moving forward with the bike, moving forward with running, anything like that, I can ask a question and I get blasted with responses pretty quickly.
Because they have a lot of other people that belong to them too, that belong to then other things that you're interested in.
Right. Well, and they've got a lot of pros like that are well above the level that I can compete at or anything like that. That are, you have everybody there.
Well, I just know, the shirts that I've got there, I mean, the material's really, really nice.
It's very nice. Yeah.
And I mean, the discounted rate's not bad. The honey chews or whatever, I mean, they're pretty neat. I had them too. And I know that like when I wear this, I notice when I'm in the gym, people kind of looking at it funny because this looks like a really mad Honey Nut Cheerio guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It reminds me of what is it? Georgia Tech.
The Yellow Jackets. Yeah. So anyway, that we just wanted to give a quick update. We're both doing pretty good, sticking to our guns, so to speak. And we hope to continue showing progress or talking about our progress as we go forward within our weekly or bi-weekly, however we get these videos out. If we're not held up. So maybe we'll come into the topic that I guess we left off with at the end of our last video. And I know you previewed it. We want to talk a little bit about kids in sports. And I think it affects me probably more soon than it does you. And the virus has put a damper on everything. I feel like I'm behind on everything with getting my kids involved. And I think the main topic, and I want to go into some subsets of it because you have way more experience with youth sports from an adult side than I do. YMCA coming to the neighborhood. They took over the club at my house. So they offer programs, and I don't know how much you know about the Y, which is why I'm going to pick your brain on the other side of it. YMCA versus rec sports, because neither one of my kids, my son's too young, he's not there yet, but my daughter could have already been in and just hasn't yet. She's old enough to be in organized sports. So when they come back, do I focus on the Y, because I know they have a plethora of programs, or do I look into the local recreation sports? And then, because I know from there, I'm very familiar with travel ball and club ball and different things. I know the ins and outs of it from doing it myself, but not from the parenting side or the coaching side. What avenue would you suggest I take?
The Y versus the rec, they're almost going to be exactly the same. It just depends what you want out of it. You got to look at their schedules. You got to look at the pliability of the situation. They're almost exactly the same as far as development and skill level. You're going to get the exact same kind of people at both places. If that makes any sense. They're going to be volunteer coaches. They're going to be, more or less like locally funded, and they're going to play X amount of games, no matter what.
So do you see like any easier of a pathway for me to get involved, coaching in one versus the other? Especially because I just moved and I'm not from there.
Right. The Y would be easier for you to get into because, and I could be completely wrong, but most likely the rec places right now, unless you're going to volunteer, obviously, but if they don't need you, they don't need you. And there's most likely people already that know people that are in it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I remember that when I was coming up in the rec, it was always a kid's dad, and he was there for years. It was like the Cub Scout leader that was also the T-ball coach.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
So, I've seen that. I didn't know what your take was on that. And then the other part of it is, there's two more things I really want to know. So my kids are 7 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what fortes, if any, they're going to have as far as organized sports, but I am interested, coming from a wrestling background. Wished I'd have done more mixed martial arts, which was more kind of what you were in. I very much want to get both of my kids into it. Do you think that there is maybe a certain age or a certain type of mixed martial arts that's maybe more geared towards, like, I know you're a fan of jiu-jitsu, that's what you come from, and I know it's
I've
impact
done
too.
Most of them, though. Not most of them, sorry. There's thousands, I guess.
But like my son's 3, at what age do you think he would have the wherewithal in his mind to do something as skilled as jiu-jitsu? Like wrestling, it's great, but and I love wrestling, and I can speak bad about it because of that, in that there is nowhere near the skill set involved in wrestling as there is in jiu-jitsu. Wrestling is more brute force. There are moves and weight shifts and hips. They roll into each other.
Yeah.
But jiu-jitsu is like the scotch of wrestling.
Right.
Right?
Well, there's a whole there's a back facet. Like back means loss.
You're gonna just quote that. Just underline and define a back facet.
You have to fight on your back.
Yeah. But I think that.
Right. There's there's guard, open guard,
right.
all the different type of guards. You're essentially in a controlling position on your back.
And that's exactly it. And that's where they directly compete against each other.
Right.
And why I got my butt kicked by a jiu-jitsu guy the first time I ever stepped out there, because here I put him on his back and he about killed me. So it was like, I understand that, but I want to get my son involved in that, and I'm certain that he'll like it. But is 4 the right age, 5 the right age, or do you?
Yes. No, so because I got to the level that I was at, and I got to help coach the younger kids classes, and the younger the better, really. But it's fun at that stage. It's like, if you ever see a beginner wrestling class, they're all just kind of going through stuff. We're trying to teach them that the most likely they're going to end up throwing each other around and rolling around on the mats and stuff like that. But that's still an exposure. They're seeing people doing the craft around them and all that stuff. But really, the younger the better. You don't want them, super young in there, but you want them where they can voice hurt or anything like that.
No, I get it. Because see, if it's wrestling, I know I can get involved with the coaching. That's my background. I feel like I want to get him in jiu-jitsu or something like that, but I just know that my involvement would be as a spectator,
or you have to take the class yourself.
Take it myself. We could be on the same level.
Which would be that. I've seen tons of people do that.
Yeah,
Scott's doing that.
Who?
Scott 007 follows us on Instagram.
Scott 007. Yeah. So I mean that might be something. And then for my daughter, I think the stigma of women in that has been demolished, right? Because like the UFC women's division was just as big for a while as the men. So that's not weird, right?
I saw like in the group that I trained in, there was she was 12 or 13 getting her purple belt, I think.
Yeah, so she was progressing.
Yeah, she was a beautiful practitioner. Like she did great. Like she was doing great. All the techniques that she needed to do that. Now, she got the lighter end of like the shark attack or whatever, if you will, that usually comes with that situation. But she's also small and still developing.
Right, exactly. I mean, I get that. She's obviously
No,
going to
that's
be
gone.
behind
There's
the
especially
size.
in that culture, in that
Like it's welcomed, right?
100%. Yeah. I mean, you'll see 80-year-olds, you'll see women, men, children. Like it's
Women, men.
women, men, and children. Yeah.
No, that I mean that's good, and the because like I said, I want to be involved in coaching, and it obviously would have to start with a sport that I'm very familiar with, because especially if I'm going to volunteer, I have to prove my worth at least to show that I can help these kids progress along.
Yeah.
And that would be my final question to you about sports in general. How was it that you went about? Because you're not from here, you moved here.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go about getting involved in coaching? And then, I mean, because you wound up coaching to a level where you were facets above rec ball. Baseball, obviously, which we both come from that background. But where was it that you got your start?
So, I mean, more or less, I got out of the military, and I didn't really have a direction or anything to do at the moment besides go to school and look for things to do. And I pretty much just walked up on a rec team that didn't have a coach yet, the coach wasn't there yet. You can tell that the coach was either running away.
How did you know? How did you know to be there?
I just went. I actually talked to the director. Was at the place where I was running around that park.
Okay.
And the director happened to be there, and I asked him if they have any rec programs. He said, yeah, they come and practice. If you want to participate in anything like that, you might as well just come up here and ask around.
So you were originally just trying to volunteer and help out?
Mm-hmm. And their coaches got there, and I started talking to their coaches, and with the appropriate amount of suspicion, they let me participate, and then they saw what I could do with baseball. And before long, I was running the practices, and that was very interesting. But because there was a bunch of kids that didn't know me, then I was the only one telling them what to do.
So I'm guessing that if this Y thing happens and I wind up putting my kids in that, and granted, we are thinking about leaning towards that, at least in the beginning, to get my kids some exposure to where they can grow and get better, and then I can look for them more competitive teams out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it will help me too, because I can kind of learn how to coach. I mean, you can be the greatest ball player out there. It doesn't mean you'll be at all a decent coach. So I can kind of learn that. But I guess my best option then is to get them involved and get with the director or someone else who's coaching. Kind of just go up there, be up there,
be an assistant. Even if you want to just get your feet wet a little bit, just become an assistant, be a helping dad. Those are always the best.
Does YMCA do they have practices or games like off site of their YMCA?
I have no idea.
Because it's actually going to be in my neighborhood, so the closeness makes it a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most likely they're going to use all the same rec fields that everybody else uses, and I'm not sure how wide their programs are anymore. Have you looked into that? Do they have baseball programs or basketball?
I don't know, because the YMCA as a whole is not. It's almost like franchised.
Right, they almost sense. Individually.
So you don't know
quite the separation.
Exactly, and they've not even listed what the rates are going to be yet. Like, they have bought this place, and they've got a truck out there, like a YMCA truck now, and they've taken down the sign for the club and whatnot, but they've not announced anything because of COVID, like when they're going to open. Everything's locked. It's like, I looked inside the building, stuff's been removed. So they're doing work, but I have no idea. And that sucks, because it's one of the main reasons I moved there was to have that club. But, the YMCA could be a good thing, especially with kids.
Well, and so from what I understand, I know the one down here, more or less the kids programs entail like after school programs and swimming is pretty much it. That's it. That's all they have. There's no sports.
Okay. Well,
I know the community YMCA back home in Texas had sports, basketball, and everything.
Maybe it just depends on the clientele that you draw, the amount and the money that they're willing to put out.
Well, I think there's like neighborhood, metropolitan, and community YMCAs, and those are different levels of programs.
Yeah, I've never joined one. I don't even think I've ever gone in one.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're probably better off going rec at the moment.
You think so?
Yeah. At
least it's a more established, you know what it is. Like, here's baseball signups. Come up here and
right.
But rec doesn't have
Because you're 50-50 with whether that Y is going to have programs or not.
Yeah, that's true. But if I want to go the MMA, that's going to be at a strictly MMA gym. I mean, no recs. That might be a thing now, but I doubt it. Right?
It'll be like there's just straight jiu-jitsu gyms now. It's not even MMA. They'll have like MMA on the weekends or something like that, but it'll be straight jiu-jitsu.
Just straight rolling.
Or the standards are pretty good for kids, like the taekwondos and karates. Those are always good for discipline development and fitness.
That was just weird though. I had
and right and left. I never that was
for
always,
cognition.
Yeah, they figure out what sides.
That was weird though. Like I don't know. I had friends growing up, and this is just probably being jaded to it, but like all the friends I had that like took karate growing up were like
they were different. Well, it's like yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, usually if they stayed with it that long, it was kind of weird or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, more power to them if that's what they want to do. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if my kids will be interested in that if they're anything like I was growing up.
Yeah,
that's just how it is. So, and also, I know that your old team kind of went its old separate ways, right? But
right. I mean, they got old enough to start seeking.
But you're kind of getting back into it now, right?
Yeah, I'm with 10 and under now again. So.
And I wish we didn't live so far away, man, because I would love to, come and kind of be under your tutelage to see how you do it, because I think that would be great for me. But,
I've learned a lot even now, because I started with the previous set when they were, I think, 12 and under, and I followed them until they were 17 and under.
Yeah. Because they're you get to see their development. They're becoming young adults.
Well, I noticed that. Picking them up at 12 and under, there were already things that I couldn't change.
Yeah, bad habits that were already picked up.
It would take millions and millions of reps and a dedicated kid to change. You
know what that's from, right? That's from Coach Dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. 100% it is.
I know better than your coach does.
And so then I took back a couple years, and I'm with this 10U, and they're raw baseball ability or nothing at all. So I'm either developing just simply athletics, or I'm developing a baseball player.
Yeah, the younger you go without going too young, the more you have to work with, right? Because these kids actually have the coordination to play ball, but they don't have that entire package yet that you can kind of groom.
Right, like you can correct things at this level, whether it's arm slot and things like that could damage them later down the road, or just make it very hard for them to succeed later down the road. Hitches in their swing, their base. Their hands moving, stuff like that is all stuff I'm looking at right now. Now it's hard to correct with a 10-year-old. There's a lot of demonstration, and I've always got, I work a game into every practice. There's always some type of game. I never did that with the older boys.
You like competitive?
Yeah, like a little relay, or, throw the ball in this little place before they throw this ball in this place.
I feel like that's super important. Because the competitive nature, and we've hit on this before, so I'm not going to dive into it, but the competitive nature is so important, especially when it comes to sports, because you need to always strive to be better. And the only way to do that is to try and be better than the guy next to you. You know, it's all in good fun. It's all in good sportsmanship. And that sportsmanship is probably the word that I think resonates the most, being a good winner and a good loser, right? Those are the best things. But when it comes to sports, having a winner is not a bad thing. So in order to pick them up and build them to be better, they need to be better than they were yesterday and better than their counterpart is today.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I learned with the older boys that there is few and far between the competitive nature kids. Like, you were competitive nature, I was competitive nature. Fun to me was competing against somebody else and winning.
Now, it's way more fun to win.
All the stuff that came with that was fun because of that competition. I didn't have to add anything to it. There was no, besides when I was way younger, it came learning how to slide time. Dad brought out slip and slides. That was, I think a lot of people probably do that. But as I got older, like that constant work was fun to me because I was getting better enough to beat X person.
Yeah, it's learning. Team. It's learning from losing, and I don't mean just losing on the scoreboard. I mean not being your best self, right? Like when you realize you could have done something better, figuring out why you did it wrong, making it better, and then
the pressures and all that stuff comes with it. That was fun to me. That competition atmosphere was fun to me.
Yeah.
I didn't have to add anything to it. There was, this whole it's only there for fun. It's just a game atmosphere, and it's a little bit more than that to me. There's a respect aspect of the game to me that. I've had it in my life. since I can remember.
And yet you still get those nerves. And those nerves that you get before those big things are because you're competitive. And as much as you prepared and as good as you know or think that you are, there's always them nerves. And I mean, I would get that in wrestling, like I'd go into a wrestling guy that I'd beat 4 or 5 times before.
Yeah.
Like I in my brain, I was like, man, I'm not going to have a problem with this guy. But like the competitive nature in me was still like, man, I could lose to this guy.
Yeah,
so like,
absolutely.
you go out there and you just try and perform your best. But well, I appreciate you answering those, and I want to pursue those, and I'm sure I'll be picking your brain more as we go forward and as we roll out of COVID and things start to open back up, because I'm super excited about that. But there's one more. Did you hear about the circus fire?
No.
Circus fire.
What was that?
It was intense. It was intense.
That's Indians, man.
Yeah. No, not those kind.
No, I mean that statement was Indians.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense.
Yeah, intense. I thought it was big tops. What you got?
When life gives you melons, you probably have dyslexia.
Yeah. You can find that one on any stupid dad joke page. So. Anyway, hey, thank you all for watching, and hey, Mr. Scott,
what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? We'll make our dreams come true. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next time, and let you know how we're doing. Good. Oh, it's longer than this. I'm still freaking recording.
It's 30 minutes.